Hey, Keenan.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Hey, Keenan. Guess what?
Yeah, what?
We're recording a podcast.
I know, I can't believe we're actually recording a podcast. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Gundam Guys.
That's right. And as you can imagine, since we are the Gundam Guys, what we do is we take you through basically the entire television series that we have our hands on.
That's right, the
essentially.
franchise from beginning to end.
Starting with the very first from 1979, the original Granddaddy Mobile Suit Gundam. Now, Jeffrey, what I'd like to ask you before we get started actually talking about the episodes, because we're going to be going through all of them in sequential order, is what is your experience with the franchise? And maybe tell the audience a little bit about yourself as well.
Well, first of all, hi, I'm Jeffrey. I will be your Gundam gay along on this magical journey as we go through the beautiful franchise that is Gundam. Now, a little bit about me. I'm very handsome. I love me a good snack. And also, I love me a good Gundam.
Good. I don't know how we're going to be able to translate your face to an audio medium, but we'll figure that out.
They know, Keenan. They can just tell.
They can just tell by the
I have
sound
that
of your
kind of voice. You just know. You just know I'm very handsome. I will say I am much more of a novice to the Gundam franchise. Keenan, he is our Yoda. He is our leader.
I'll do the best that I can and impart the wisdom and knowledge that I have garnered over the last 27 years.
And I'm here to sass these big old robots and the fun people who pilot them. Now, I am a relic of the Toonami era. That was my first introduction to Gundam. I watched Gundam Wing first back in the days. It was in that, y'all, let's come back with me to that classic lineup. You have Sailor Moon at 4, and then Reboot at 4:30. DBZ at 5, and then Gundam Wing at 5:30. Oh, what a glorious time it was, Keenan.
Wow, you even remember the time slots. I couldn't remember that even if I wanted to.
It could have been 5 to 7, but I'm pretty sure it went from 4 to 6, and I remember this lineup, and I remember I used to watch all the shows, and one of them was Gundam Wing, which I just remember there were just lots of very pretty boys flying around in big robots that cut each other in half all the time. And then shortly after that, a very not similar in storytelling wise, but similar in Pretty Boys and Robots, which was G Gundam, which I watched a little bit of back in the day. And the last Gundam series that I remember watching that I will fight to the death over. And I love it so much. And you hear Keenan laughing because he's judging me already. However, it is the perennial classic SD Gundam Force.
Oh, Super Defender Gundam Force. Yeah. Yep.
Which, when we get to it in 15 years, I will ride or die for it. I haven't watched in 20 years or however many years. But let me tell you, I remember the magic. I remember the beauty. But anyway, as I said, I'm a relic of the Toonami era. And a few years ago, what I used to do on Friday nights is I would recreate Toonami. I would pull up all the old video stings on my computer, the intro with Tom, the bumpers in between shows, and I would watch the different shows. And two of the shows that I rewatched during that time were Gundam Wing and G Gundam. And the first thing I realized was I didn't understand anything that was going on in Gundam Wing as a child, because it's a very different show to watch as an adult.
I don't think many of us really understood it back then. We just saw pretty people and robots, and I know you and I share this interest in Power Rangers, so that's...
Yes!
It's kind of a nice leap into that. It's just not live action anymore. It's animated, but it's still robots and people in suits.
Yes, still pretty people in suits and robots. It's a great time.
It's fantastic.
So I rewatched that, and I rewatched G Gundam, which I also noticed some different things about as an adult, but we will talk about that in the future.
Oh, we will get to that hot mess, that's for sure.
But you know what was on Toonami that I never watched? It was the original Mobile Suit Gundam, which I believe is what we are starting today. Am I right, Keenan?
Yes, it's what we're going to be talking about. I think now's a good time to maybe share my experience with the franchise, because I have a similar path where I saw it on Toonami. Then it would expand to Adult Swim later. We'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept going. Toonami showed more Gundam series after G and after SD Gundam Force, and it was the show 8th MS Team. When that came on, that's what really captured my imagination of this series. Like, I loved Gundam Wing, I loved Mobile Suit Gundam when it was on, before it was unfortunately canceled, but again, we'll get to that.
R.I.P. in peace.
But when 8th MS Team came on, it broadened my horizons as to what I really liked about this franchise, which a lot of those themes we're going to see in the 1979 version, because that's where a lot of the tropes started from. And I kept going ever since, until when Gundam Seed came on. A lot of people know the controversy that Seed brought.
Y'all should see a look on his face. It's shady to the nth degree. The second the word seed came out of his mouth, just filth across his face. Not having it, people.
My veins are boiling hot with how much opinions I have about Seed. But again, that's something for later. We got to get through the original series first. So
yeah, and speaking of your boiling veins, I have a very nice carpet, Keenan. I would appreciate if they don't burst all over the floor, because I ain't cleaning that up.
I hope you have carpet cleaner.
How dare. But Keenan.
Yes, Jeffrey.
Why don't you introduce yourself to the nice people?
Yes, I am Keenan. A little bit about me is that, unlike my co-host here, I'm a very short man. You won't be able to see it, but maybe you could hear it based on my tone of voice.
You have short man voice?
I have short man voice. It's inevitable. I can't help it. But I do a lot of
Ladies, he's a
things.
very handsome short man.
Oh,
it's great. He'll fit right in your purse. No problems through baggage claim. He's the ideal. So any Gundam gals out there, let me tell you.
Oh, Gundam gals, I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
We might have a few on our show.
I hope that's not trademarked, because I'd love to use that for our fans when we get them. I hope.
Yes.
I hope. But that's why I want to share my passion about this series with everybody out there, because I feel like that's something that's missing in the podcast world, is not enough talk about Gundam as a franchise, because what's really fascinating about this is, at the time of this recording, we're on the cusp of Gundam's 40th anniversary.
Gasp.
I know. 40 years of giant robots and pretty people. It's remarkable. And not only that, I recently did a little bit of research on how the series has done financially. And according to comicbook.com, right now it's the 15th highest grossing franchise ever.
Ooh.
And that's in some pretty good company. Like, they're mixed up with Pokemon, who is at number 1, sitting at a whopping 59.1 billion total sales.
Brief note to the creators and team behind Gundam. If y'all want some help on that franchise and you want to spread that cheddar out a little thinner, call your boys.
Just saying. Now, Gundam, as being at 15th, ironically, is sitting at 15 billion in total sales since when it released in 1979.
15, lovely number.
Right.
Very strong.
But you've got Star Wars that's also with that, Harry Potter, a lot of other franchises, and that spans decades upon decades. And that, I find, is what makes this show great, is its staying power. Now, as far as getting to the actual series at hand. So
which series are we starting with, Keenan?
The 1979 Mobile Suit Gundam, or as it's known in Japan, Kido Senshi Gundam. Now, a little bit about the company. A little bit about the company that made it is an animation studio known as Sunrise. And for those out there, since we brought up Toonami, you may know them as having a hand in Cowboy Bebop and a lot of other more prominent mech genre things. But that's not how they started. They only started around, if I can find my notes on it.
He's going through his Gundam encyclopedia. It's like a big tome. It's like the Bible, but it's like, it's a robot metal. You'd love it.
Yeah, let me see if I can actually pull it out for you.
That was a very light tap for such a heavy book, Keenan.
It's made out of very thin paper. So Sunrise, they started around 1972. And they didn't really start making their own animations at the time. They did a lot of partner deals with companies like the people who made as we know in America, Battle of the Planets, or Gatchaman in its various names, as it was brought over here. And they were kind of getting, their feet wet in terms of like super robot stuff, which that's also kind of like a little bit of the setting here before we get to when they released the series in April of 1979, is the robot genre as it is called super robot, where you have your formula of you have your main character, you have your really cool looking robot that goes around fighting aliens or whatever bad guy they have at the time, and it's a very monster of the week type thing, like Power Rangers.
Yeah.
So when it came to making their own series, the creator I'm not sure if he is sole credit to it, but Yoshiyuki Tomino was the director of the original series and has directed it for many, many years and is still directing a lot of the Gundam projects.
Oh, really?
So him and his team, they created the series and they wanted to kind of separate themselves from the super robot genre, which nowadays that's like, okay, this is commonplace. This is what the franchise is all about. Is a lot more realism to its giant robot escapades.
Well, because you wouldn't want your mobile robots getting mixed in with all those super robots. I mean, let's get real.
Right. So, like I said, they started premiering this in April of 1979. I believe April 7th is the actual first air date in Japan. Now, we didn't actually see Mobile Suit Gundam until 2001.
Ooh.
So, almost 20 years after its original inception, we didn't get that. We got Gundam Wing first.
Yeah, I love my boys.
Which that showed up in March of 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Now, prior to that, Gundam Wing is the first television series that we got, but they were kind of starting to test the waters in the United States by releasing a couple OVAs on DVD and stuff like that.
Oh, nice. Probably available at your local Suncoast.
Well,
just in that corner in the mall next to the well, I want to say cell phone cases. Those weren't a thing. What would they sell? Like calendars. They'd be next to the calendars.
Calendars are next to your local KB Toys.
Oh, my heart.
Rest in peace to both of those stores.
And Toys R Us. Though they zombied it back from the grave, Keenan.
Really? Toys R Us is coming back?
Well, I guess I think it's going to be called like Jeffrey's Box, which, while a fabulous name, just a little...
hopefully
we'll get into toy
involved.
opinions in a future episode, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure, because Gundam has a very fascinating story about their toy lines as well. As many know, they are kind of well known for model kits, but it's not how it started. Now, before we actually dive into this episode, thank you very much for bearing with us as we exposit about ourselves, exposit our feelings about the franchise, and kind of giving like a little foundation as to how things got started. This, I find, is the most fascinating of all things about Gundam as a whole, not just the original series, but it does pertain to the original series. This franchise almost failed upon release.
That's a bummer for our first episode. Why?
Right. Well, that's, I think, we're going to find out as we actually dive into the first episode.
Oh, good. I'm really glad that we are starting with what almost killed this beautiful franchise that we are going to discuss.
Yep.
I am super excited.
All 43 episodes and counting.
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back, everybody.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody. We just got done watching our first episode of Mobile Suit Gundam.
Amurooooo. Amurooooo.
Now,
just picture me in some mood lighting, standing in front of the earth, floating among the stars. Amurooooo. Amurooooo.
Jeffrey is singing the end credits to the...
It's very catchy.
It's called Forever Amurooooo. It actually is a very nice tune, but we're not going to talk about the end of the episode just yet. We're going to talk about the beginning of the episode.
No, but we'll get there. Also, now Keenan, I'm your Gundam gay. He's your Gundam guide. He's going to lead us down this beautiful road. Now, what am I here for? The jokes, obviously. The chuckles. But besides that, I'm also here Because I supplied the snacks for when we watch the episode. It's a beautiful life that I lead.
Absolutely.
So each episode, while watching and taking notes, we gonna have a snack. So today's snack was, for me, some delicious eggnog, because while it has been a while since Christmas when you listen to this, it's merely days before Christmas when we record this. Ooh, the magic of podcasting.
Way to date ourselves.
Keenan was drinking water.
Unfortunately, I could not share the eggnog as I am lactose intolerant.
So I had double for him. And we had some delicious butter crunch cookies, which let me tell you about these. They claim to be uniquely crispy and deeply delicious, which is some very strong self-marketing. I appreciate the pride and the bravado. Very tasty.
Absolutely very tasty. I love butterscotch, so having those cookies while we were watching the first episode was a delight. And speaking of delights,
yes, okay, we have some
notes.
robots to talk about.
Now, before we broke to actually watch the episode, I talked about how the series was kind of wanting to separate itself from the super robot genre.
Yes.
Well, it certainly didn't feel like that watching the opening credits, now was it?
Well, I don't know much about the super robot genre. I will tell you what I do know. I know to Ray John Gundam. I know you must run forth, if you are still burning with furious rage. I am also aware that super serious character... Oh, never mind, reading my own notes. Cut that part, Keenan. Let me start that
Ignore
again.
that. He's reading the lyrics that he copied down, I think word for word, of the opening sequence, which is called Fly Gundam.
Yes, because, Keenan, you must fight the towering foe. Fight, fight, fight. Justice Gundam. Bring to bear the rage of Justice Gundam. Mobile Suit Gundam. Gundam! And then you would think the theme was over. That feels like an end. No, this theme is 10 hours long. So then we get into the second verse, where all of our main characters turn dramatically to face the camera, because we must rise once more, Gundam. You must seize the power. Everyone throws their hands in the air because they're seizing the power. And then we fly towards the galaxy, Gundam. Mobile Suit Gundam. Gundam in the sun. Gundam flies away. Those are not lyrics, those are the actions. But I felt like they also could be dramatically read because I am one of the arts.
I'm so happy that we got to watch that theme, because not only is it when we actually get into the episode, it may feel like a little bit of mood whiplash, but I love the opening theme to the original Mobile Suit Gundam. And the interesting thing about this is that...
Oh boy, does he. Your boy was getting his dance on next to me.
I sure was.
All 3 times we watched the theme because I said, no, I'm taking too many notes. I need to watch this again. I have too many thoughts. The first run was just to copy down the lyrics.
Yeah. And if you can imagine, as he was reading those lyrics and verbally stating them to all of you, a lot of the visuals that were accompanying it was shots of space. We get to see a lot of what will become our main characters throughout the show. The Gundam himself, of course, in all of its magnificent glory. And but here's what's really interesting about this theme song in particular. So I said earlier that in Japan, this aired in April of 1979. I believe the actual air date is April 7th. So by April 7th, 2019 is when the actual 40th anniversary hits.
We're so close.
I referenced this earlier before we went to break, is we didn't get this until 2001. So this episode, when it went on Toonami, appeared on July 23rd, 2001.
Which we should mention that we are watching the English dub.
Yes.
Of Mobile Suit Gundam.
Which the dub was provided by everyone's favorite dubbing company, Ocean Dub.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Now, if I remember correctly, first of all, that's the most 2000s thing. And you could tell because all those voices were very 2000s. Our main character, Amurooooo, his voice I recognize from Mobile Suit Gundam Wing as Crybaby Catra, as I so lovingly call him. Now the Ocean dub.
You should know the name.
No, I do. And I just want to make sure this would be the It's Over 9,000 dub, correct?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. Oh, my childhood. I love it.
Yeah, Ocean Dub was responsible for a lot of dubs that would go to American television, even though they're a Canadian-based studio, but they covered the first run of Dragon Ball Z. They covered, I believe, didn't they have a hand in one of the Sailor Moon dubs at one point?
No? It was Deke who dubbed them, and then Cloverway.
Yeah.
I do believe that Ocean did Inuyasha.
Yes, they did do Inuyasha.
Yes, because I remember, because y'all, I love anime closing credit sequences because they're always super pretty with great songs, and none are better than Inuyasha. So that's how I remember that it was Ocean Studios, because I would see that name pop up every episode.
Yeah. If it wasn't Funimation, it was usually Ocean that was covering a lot of anime between the 90s to the 2000s until other dubbing companies like Viz would show up and so on and so forth. Now, back to the episode at hand. So
yes.
After we're done with the credits, we immediately cut to a little bit of an explanation of what's going on in the world at present in this series.
One thing we want to make sure you know, though, as you enter this series with us, is that people are born, raised, and die. And then a building blows up, and welcome to Gundam, y'all.
Remember what I said about Mood Whiplash? Is we get this nice, catchy 1970s, theme song, and then things blow up and people die, as Jeffrey mentioned.
And it's all like, oh, a pretty town. People die. Explosion. Oh, pretty space. Another explosion. Half of the population is gone from both sides. I'm like, I was like, y'all, this is very intense.
So what Jeffrey is describing is the opening narrative where we have our English announcer talk about basically the setting where this takes place not necessarily in a dystopian future, but it is the future, the year 0079 of the Universal Century. 1979, 0079, yeah, you get it.
Keenan? That was unacceptable.
Jeffrey is giving me a very harsh amount of looks. So yeah, we get that explanation. They kind of show a little bit of shots that we will probably end up seeing again, because as shows tend to do, they use a lot of stock footage, especially from the opening sequences, because that's where a lot of the money goes to.
It was lovely stock footage, though. Top notch, y'all. Very pretty.
So,
minus all the death.
So, like I said, it's the year 0079. People have moved on from Earth. We actually have a little bit of space colony setup going on. So how that happened is basically, the show will cover it lightly, but I figure I might as well touch upon it now. People messed up the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Hint, hint.
Oh, what? I'm sorry, Keenan. You just blew my mind. I'm sorry. Do you mean to tell me that human beings could do damage to the Earth?
Isn't it amazing?
J'accuse.
Isn't it amazing how almost 40 years ago they were talking about this, and it's
about now,
being
about right now,
today.
Oh god, so y'all is rough out there.
The explanation though is a little bit different, because it's not that the environment is necessarily ruined, because we do see shots of the Earth, and the Earth actually looks pretty good, all things considered.
It's still blue,
still a little bit of green.
I will say I was a little bit confused as we went in whether or not just because I remember from Gundam Wing, mm-hmm. It was a constant back and forth between on a colony on Earth, so I was just trying to figure out where we were, and eventually you realize it is on the colony.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of parallels are shared between both series.
Oh yeah, I have one to bring up later.
Yeah, so what caused people to leave Earth, which would be explained in later novels and other Gundam series that take place in the same universe, is that there's too many. There's too many people. And because there's too many people, resources are getting eaten up unbelievably quickly, so they had no choice but to send people off into space in space colonies. And we get a couple of shots of that in the opening sequence, and they also cover a bit of the factions that we would see, and we're going to see throughout the rest of the series. And they're very important, because these two factions last in real time because the thing about the Universal Century timeline is that it lasts from real life 1979 as the show is created all the way until 1993.
Oh.
So almost 20 years of the same continuous story with the same factions being brought up in each one.
So do tell me, Keenan, who are our two factions?
So we have what is known as the Earth Federation, which is a collection of essentially all of modern government, which they base on real life government. It's essentially like the European Union, but on a global scale as opposed to just the continent.
Mm-hmm.
So they came together around the time of Universal Century 0 when the Charter was founded. That'll get brought up in another series, so I won't delve too much in on that. Now, when they sent the people to the space colonies, essentially those space colonies formed a bit of their own governments, which, if you've ever seen Gundam Wing or G Gundam, which Jeffrey mentioned earlier, same idea. Those colonies are essentially their own country. And that's the other faction that is brought up in the first narrative is the Principality of Zeon.
Zeon, girl of the 21st century.
Now, Zeon has a very interesting history to it that'll get brought up later, but the long and short of it is, to close the narrative, Zeon doesn't like the Earth Federation. They started a war with them, as we clearly see shots of Zeon attacking space colonies where millions of people are living on, by the way, and things are getting blown up. And there's even a shot of what looks like a colony wreckage colliding with the Earth.
Yeah.
It's pretty grim.
It's not, like, if you thought, hey, we're gonna fly into this a little Gundam Wing-ish. We're gonna have some hot boys running around. They're all clearly gonna want each other, but we're gonna pretend they want Marlena. And no, that is not what is going on here, my friends.
We'll cover that
at
some point.
Well, what is it? 15 years? We'll get there.
Now, they don't really mention this at all throughout this series until almost 35 years later in real time when they actually cover what took place right before all this started. Is that colony that got dropped? It dropped on Australia.
Well,
the real life Australia, because this world is based on the real world. All the continents and governments are basically the same, just with a few, differences here and there, like the Earth Federation and stuff like that.
Poor Australia.
So
one of my favorite podcasts is out of Australia. Oh, I hope the Ranger Danger guys are okay.
Just pray that no evil space corporation is dropping a giant structure upon their continent.
In the year of our Lord 2018, but for you all 2019, wouldn't shock me.
Right. So that's our opening narratives. Now we have these sides, they're at war with each other. People are dying. A lot of stuff's going on. They're at war. And then we get introduced to the setup of what will become the main cast.
Yes.
So now the colonies that I mentioned, they're broken up into what's called sides, which is a cluster of colonies, which can range between like 3 to 5 of these colonies, which the colonies themselves are actually designed from a real-life speculation that was made by a physicist, I believe in 1980. Let me pull up my notes on that.
He's checking the tome, everyone.
So it's based on a thing called the O'Neill cylinder, which was created by an American physicist by the name of Gerard K. O'Neill and his team. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not in the 80s. This is in 1976, before the show even got started.
Keenan.
Forewarning to all of you listening out there, I'm going to be throwing out a lot of information, and I'm not going to get it right every time. I am human, after all.
So, you can always contact us and let us know every time Keenan's wrong. I don't know how he'll feel about it. I'll have a great time.
It's the internet. I'm going to get yelled at regardless. So, the book that came from is known as the High Frontier Human Colonies on Space, and what that physicist proposed is essentially what you would see in the show, where the colony is essentially a big cylinder that rotates in order to keep people in essentially like a gravity-like state. So there's
like a Ferris wheel, but in space.
Yeah, although you wouldn't really
people.
You wouldn't really notice it though because it rotates slowly enough because it's so large. It's not like the
Like the Earth?
It's not like the Earth or the space stations that we currently have today, where those are much smaller and they have to rotate faster in order to keep people in place.
Mm-hmm.
And also to keep a wonderful thing known as cosmic radiation away from people. That's a very real-life danger, and this show doesn't talk about it.
See, Keenan, if only you had been alive, you could have been...
I could have contacted old Tomino and be like, hey, you might want to do something about those windows that clearly let light in from the sun.
Tomino, my dude.
And in space, that's not necessarily good for you because there's no ozone layer or atmosphere to protect these people. It's just these hulking metal structures that also have reflect panels in order to get sunlight in the first place. But enough about science. We need to talk about some 15-year-old children.
Okay, all right. That brings me to my first question, is how old are these shitty teens? Because I was like, these have to be teenagers, especially Amurooooo. His behavior. Oh, and we will get to Fraubo in a second.
We'll get to his friends as well. And that after the narration, that's actually where we cut to a colony known as Side 7. Mm-hmm. And on Side 7, they got something going on in there. They got a military base, and they're working on a project that Zeon is interested in because a couple of their mobile suits infiltrate the colony.
Oh, yeah. These green
Cyclops-like mobile suits.
Yeah, I don't even know if we really get to see the guys inside yet when they first show up. I know one comes out of the suit.
They do a little like they take a portion of the screen. They show like the pilot's face a couple of times, but they don't really mention names. As of yet, they're just showing like, okay, these are Zeon forces. They're getting into this colony because they're looking for something.
Yeah.
After that, we cut to what looks like a neighborhood, and there's a girl in a green dress.
Who is she, Keenan?
We saw her actually in the credits. That's Fraubo. Fraubo is a friend to our main protagonist, who is holed up in his room, in his house, all by himself, in nothing but his underwear and a wife beater, and he's working on something. He's got like a supercomputer in his own room.
Like, he's clearly a child of the 70s because he's already wearing the outfit he will be wearing when he's a dad one day, now hanging around his house.
Now, Jeffrey was keeping count of how many times this character's name is mentioned.
Oh, yes, because here's the thing, y'all. Long before you meet him, and by long I mean maybe 30 seconds, you will be very aware of his name because our homegirl Fraubo decides to say it over the course of not only this scene before she sees him, then when she sees him, then when she sees their friend, then when they're driving down the street, she says this character's name 16 times. Yes, I counted. Why? Because it was fun for me. But also because, listen, every time I see my dear friend Keenan, I say hello, Keenan. I do not say hello, Keenan. How are you, Keenan? What did you have to drink, Keenan? When did you wake up today, Keenan? How did your day go, Keenan? Like, did you have a sandwich, Keenan? How was that nap, Keenan? Did you get enough sleep, Keenan? Make sure to take your vitamin C, Keenan. Get out, Keenan. Like, that is not how humans talk to each other. It's not just saying the same person's name over and over again. And
oh, man.
Maybe it's just because his name is so specific. Or maybe it's just because, listen, I'm gonna get real with y'all.
They really want to make sure you know his name is Amurooooo.
Well, which I get. He is the protagonist. But listen. What you all learn about me is I am a staunch feminist. All my favorite superheroes are women. My favorite comedians are women. I always just love me some strong female characters. I hope Fraubo will be that one day. As of the end of this episode, I hate her, but she may grow on me. And it's not like she did anything wrong. I just find
she just doesn't know how to talk like a person.
See, there's that. I think she's a grower.
Okay.
And we will grow to fall in love, me and Fraubo. Though, I will say about Amurooooo, though, in his wife beater and underwear.
And brown hair and
yeah, let's talk about his hair for just a moment. Because I'll tell you, Keenan, I found Amurooooo to be an instantly comforting character.
Really?
Yes, I did. I really did, because here's the thing. It's not often that I get to see my grandmother's perm show up in my media. And no one was dearer to me than Nanny. And now I get to see her hair on our protagonist every week. So I felt all warm and safe, like I was with
glad
family.
you said that because his personality doesn't seem to reflect that.
He is a teenager.
Yeah.
He's got that. He has that attitude. He's not here for it. He's not here for Frau calling his name 17 times.
By the way, barges into his house. Like,
well,
I don't know whether the door was unlocked or not. But she just waltzes in, and it's clear that they have a relationship with each other.
They are brothers
friends.
and sisters. Also, they're 15.
Not actual brothers and sisters, but they may as well be.
Oh, wait, they're not brother and sister?
No, they're not related. They're friends. They're childhood friends.
Y'all can see I did a beautiful job.
I understand why you thought that, though, because they have a matching hair color, they're around the same age.
Oh, and when we get to it, then I will... Then I do have a different comment for something that happens later, though. Now that I know they're best friends.
So yeah, as I was saying,
Frau could have not.
He's working on something. Frau is barging into his house. Now, I joked about it, but there actually is a legitimate reason why she's concerned, is because it's like there's a war going on. So there was an alarm that was warning people to evacuate. So she's going to check on Amurooooo to make sure that he's okay. And what is he doing? He's just like, whatever. Like, I kind of heard there was an alarm, but I don't think it's a big deal. So
he wasn't concerned.
She's in a hurry to get him out and get him to safety because they care about each other.
Oh.
So he needs to get his pants on. She goes outside and meets with another character named Hayato. Now, Hayato is also friends with Amurooooo and Frau.
He seemed nice.
He seemed nice. We don't really see much of him because he's only in one scene and throughout this entire episode. Mm-hmm. And his name is only mentioned twice. Once by Frau, once by what we would assume to be his mother because it's a voice from off screen.
Oh, yeah. We never see her, do we?
No.
No, but we'll talk about his dad soon.
That's the thing about this episode in particular is there's a lot of information they have to pack in it. So a lot of names are getting thrown around. A lot of stuff's happening. We had to rewind the episode many times to make sure that there was information we got because they're just going through it like lightning.
Yeah, there's like 17 episodes worth of... There's at least 17 Power Rangers episodes worth of material packed into this one episode of Gundam.
Yeah. And I understand why is because, again, there's a panic going on. So it makes sense that everybody's frantic and, there's not... You don't understand what's going on. So they all break apart. They go their separate ways. And then we cut to what looks like an enemy warship. Now, there's a clear difference in design as to the two factions, what they look like. Federation Forces stuff looks more blocky, more square, whereas Zeon is a lot more rounded.
A lot of faces?
A lot of faces. Almost very alien-like, even though it's still humans.
Yeah, literally, the top of the main Zeon ship is just like an angry face.
Which, that's a good thing that you said that, because in the ship that we see in the next scene, we get to see who's inside the crew, and their delightfully cheesy outfits that they got on.
I don't know what you're talking about, Keenan. They were very fashion forward. Those helmets, gorgeous. Gorgeous helmets. With the little, the little flying nun epaulets to the sides. Sally Field would have loved them. How dare you mock them?
Now, these are military uniforms that these guys have, and they're meant to give they're meant to harken back to like World War II era uniforms. So like for your captains, they got a little bit of tassels, and they have collars with pins and stuff like that. Not very great at describing outfits, but the most important thing that they have
helmets
is the helmets, which look like old Stormtrooper helmets with a little bit of flair, especially for our guy in red.
Yeah, let's talk about our friend Zex Marquise.
So for those of you who've seen Gundam Wing, there is a character known as Zex Marquise who wears a helmet and visor, who is very reminiscent to the same character that we see in this show.
Not just a helmet and visor.
18 years prior to when that show was made.
Just a slightly less fancy helmet and visor than this. A sleeker helmet and visor of the 90s.
And this guy, he sounds like he's in charge. He's got the only unique outfit among these other guys. It's the only one in red. And his name only gets thrown out a couple of times, but they throw out the name Char. And that's all we really learn about that at that point, because they cut away to essentially another part of the operation that the Zeon forces are taking. And what they're after, essentially, and they keep it vague, because it's the first episode, and they got to build up to the giant robot itself, is they got intel that the Earth Federation is working on something on Side 7's base. What that is essentially a prototype mobile suit.
Gasp!
That's all the intel that they have. They don't know what it's called, but they know they're working on something, and Zeon wants it.
Keenan, what could it be?
It's like this is a show from 1979, and it's... The thing is, actually, this show didn't really intend to sell toys. Like most shows have that where it's more of a marketing thing just to
yes,
sell merch.
Tell me the Power Rangers Super Sentai fan about how things are made to market and how every weapon is a toy before it is even on the shelf.
Jeffrey gets it, but maybe our viewers don't. So
I got you, viewers. I'm here for you. I support you. We will walk through this valley together.
And that's another common thing that the super robot shows of the time had, is the same idea. Like Transformers and He-Man and all these other shows is...
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry.
To move merch.
He-Man was a super robot show?
No, I meant it was meant to sell toys, not... Although,
okay,
he
now...
does get some vehicles.
All right, now I'm picturing it. The modern He-Man reboot. He-Man's a robot. And let me tell you how it works. 12 little He-Mans work together to run the big He-Man. Oh, magic. Yeah. Can't wait for it to cross over with the new She-Ra.
Back to the episode at hand. So, the first episode kind of bounces around a lot between three things. Zeon, Earth Federation, and basically the civilians. So,
yeah, there's a lot packed in here. Lots of cutting between the different characters.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. When I looked at the time at the end, it was like 22 minutes. I was like, how?
Right?
How? There's so much.
Because that's not including commercials. If they had commercials, it's probably a 30-minute running time. But yeah, so we bounce back between Zeon and Earth Federation. Earth Federation is at the time leading in what looks like a big warship right into Side 7, which they throw out the name of it. It's called White Base. And it's just this massive, very angular, very garish warship that just docks right in. And we get introduced to a couple of characters, including one Tem Ray, who they don't mention his name at the moment, but that's Amurooo's father.
Yes. Hold on, I'm going to take the mic. Let's talk about Amurooo's father, or as I call him, the Purple Stallion, because this man... we got a hot dad on our hands, friends. All of a sudden, talk about angles, Keenan. This man was angles for days.
I will say, he does have very luscious purple locks.
Gorgeous. Oh, and we'll talk about him in the spacesuit later. Our boy is thick.
Surprisingly, for somebody who's basically a nerd.
Yeah, first of all...
Nothing wrong with nerds.
First of all, let me tell you.
You got two of them on this podcast.
It is the age of the hot nerd. No, just the other day, I was watching a clip from the original Will and Grace where it was all about the ultra rare hot gay nerd. Let me tell you.
Really
welcome. Listen, they didn't know. They didn't know. That's how the show dated itself. Because boy, that is not a problem to find now. And we're all so pretty.
Anyway, so Temri is also talking to another Federation soldier who showed up in the opening credits. His name is Noah Bright. It's pretty much all we get about him right now, but he's in the opening credits. He must be important. Who knows? He may die. A lot of people die in this show.
Well,
if that wasn't obvious.
You know what? Tara was super important in Buffy, and she didn't make it into the opening credits to right till before they shot her. And I'm still bitter about it.
Because the thing is after, they do all this setup and they get all these people introduced, we cut back to Amurooooo, and I believe he's with Frau at this time. They're both in a car, and they're driving to essentially where people are getting evacuated. Mm-hmm. Or rather, they're getting into a shelter first, and then they're going to get evacuated. Because, again, there's a war
because I think we already saw them driving after she picked him out, because I believe that was part of my 16 Amurooos. Mm-hmm. Because first she talks to him, then she talks to Hayato, and then they drive, and she says it some more.
Mm-hmm. And then, almost like that, those same Zeon guys that were infiltrating the colony show up, and they start attacking the base.
Okay, not they. One guy's like, we're here to watch. And the other one, Schmucky McSchmuckface, is like, I'm gonna blow it up. And the second he started, I just turned to Keenan and I said, he's gonna die. I said, that is 100% a man who is destined to die.
Yeah.
He even had the, 90s anime villain of the week face, where it was, yet again, lots of angles. And just that slick smirk, like, I'm not smart enough to be a main villain, but I'm going to be a really strong villain of the... I hate him so much.
I believe we even actually get a name for him, too.
Oh, we do. Well, we do not get his name. I maybe we get his name now, but I do not have us as getting his name till after he died. And what was his name? Was it Gene?
Yeah,
it was Gene. Oh, fuck Gene. Hate Gene. Good. No, good.
Sorry.
Well, we don't know if Gene's gonna die yet. We're still halfway through the episode. There's lots more to see. But I just had a feeling.
Right, but much like...
when he appeared.
Much like a good TV show, they introduce their villain. He's clearly a villain. Like, he's got an ego. He's just like, I'm gonna take out all these Federation guys.
He lasted longer than I thought he was going to, because when he just was... when the other one was like, hey, hang back, and he's like, I'm just gonna blow shit up. I thought they were going to kill him right then, but no, he just starts blowing everything up, and there's lots of screaming and falling robots, and is a rough time.
And for a children's show, they're showing a little signs of things getting pretty grim and graphic.
Okay, so I guess that is my question, though. Was this considered a children's show at the time?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Which doesn't surprise me, because I have not watched the early seasons of Sentai yet, but I have heard they're much darker than the later seasons that we get that got turned into Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Though some of those, y'all, can be rough.
I mean, obviously, cultural differences between what is shown on air is prevalent, especially between Japan and the United States. But yeah, this was actually considered children's media. Yeah. It was on the same time slot as a lot of the other shows at the time, where, again, following the super robot thing. But those were more colorful, more friendly, they showed death, but not to the same degree that this show was.
Yes.
So, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, this episode feels like a constant stream of mood whiplash, because we've got colorful music, we've got colorful characters, but then there are people killing each other.
Yeah, and I love how there's just giant, shotgun shells falling on the ground everywhere. I'm like,
yeah,
you don't even need to aim at the people. You can just wait till they're underneath you and just start shooting so they just drop. It was it was such a random touch to me that they were like, you know what we need? We need to make sure all of these people-sized shells just start falling from the sky. Do no damage, just clickety-clank onto the ground.
This is where the realism comes in, because... the creators went out of their way to make a lot of things. I mean, it's still a futuristic setting, so they did their best to predict how these things would actually work, to the point where the guns that the Zeon forces are using are essentially giant machine guns, which case giant shells, like tanks, and stuff like that. But after that explosion, we get a cut to the eye catch, which, again, this is like, hey, nice and bright and colorful.
It was adorable. It was so cute.
And it's got a little bit of
P.S. people are about to die, en masse, but it was an adorable eye catch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. There's actually one thing I missed before we cut to the eye catch that's very important. But
is it when he's like...
I wrote a lot of notes.
Is it when he's like, hey, that's shaking. That's too hard of a shaking to not be explosions.
Sort of. But this is a little more important than that. Is when the Zeon forces attack and they attack the base, Amurooooo is driving to the base with Frau. We see a shot of a missile that gets that infiltrates the base and blows up and kills a bunch of soldiers who talk to Amurooooo, because Amurooooo is also looking for his father. And when that part of the base blows up, it's almost like a hangar. Surprisingly well intact is a book that Amurooooo picks up. And he takes a look at it and it looks like schematics. And the schematics look awfully similar to what we see in the opening credits.
Yeah, I did enjoy how this book just happened to fly from a fiery explosion, not even smoky.
Nope, not a scratch.
Just fresh out the oven, ready to be used. And also, this thing, humongous.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I love that. Here's what I really love about this.
Yeah, that schematics was
about
2 or 3 times the size of a laptop.
I mean, I think you're gonna... You all have an idea of what this book is for. I just love that instead of doing the classic, or what to us is the classic, the person gets in the cockpit and just knows what to do.
Mm-hmm.
No, he gets a Dodge Duran instruction booklet on how to pilot this monstrosity, and I like that touch. I really love that they were like, well, obviously we're going to give him an instruction manual. How else is he going to know how's he going to get the laser swords?
Right. You got to know how to work the machine.
Yes. So I thought that was, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a lovely touch.
I mean, we see a little bit of it early in the episode when I mentioned that Amurooooo is working on what looks like a supercomputer. He's pretty intelligent. I mean, you have to be the son of who we would find out is essentially an engineer. But yeah, we see okay, he actually kind of understands what he's looking at when he takes a look at the schematics. He's throwing out a little bit of jargon. They're just like, hey, this sounds like he knows what he's talking about. After that, that's when we get to the eye catch. And then we cut back to more of the attack. And after the explosion, Amurooooo gets the schematics. He separates with Frau. Frau goes to... Oh, there's I got a little bit of these events out of order. It's like I wrote terrible notes.
Keenan.
They were actually...
I was too busy eating cookies. I was not... I was taking notes on just the things that tickled me.
Let me double back for a second. They already got to a shelter, and that's Frau and Amurooooo, that is. And they're held up with a bunch of people because there's an attack going on. Actually,
yes, which he knows because he can recognize the attack shaking because it's not your average shaking.
Yeah, that's what
this is firebombing shaking.
I totally missed. And a couple of civilians throw out, they're just like, "Oh, this is a Xeon attack. Damn those Xeon people. Ugh, they're awful. Stop attacking us."
That was exactly how that went. That was word for word, tone for tone.
Yeah,
the reaction to these people had. Thank you, Keenan, for that beautiful rendition.
That's when Amurooooo breaks away from Frau, who, she's like, no, don't go. And he's like, no, I gotta go look for my father. He may be in danger. But he's got an ulterior motive. And we come back. He's got the schematics. Frau actually leaves the base as well. We don't see her leave, but she shows up later, along with a bunch of civilians who are now leaving that shelter because, oh my god, explosions. What do we do?
P.S. The correct response when there are explosions is to go, oh my god, explosions. However, the place where these people went wrong is running towards the explosions.
So the Federation people, they're actually trying to get these people to calm down and actually go aboard the White Base, which was brought in earlier. So the White Base sounds like it's going to be used to essentially get these people off the colony. That's when we cut back to Frau and Amurooooo. They're escaping together. And as if it couldn't get any darker, another explosion happens, and we see that Frau's relatives got killed.
Yeah, literally everyone who was around them.
Yeah,
except these 2 teenagers.
We don't see blood, but
dead.
These people aren't moving at all. They're covered in soot and
they're charred.
Some of them are actually pretty messed up.
It was just and I was just so relieved that Frau escaped because she's so wonderful. But it was just it was so very superhero-esque that these 2 children just happened to be the only 2 who were just out of range of the explosion.
Mm-hmm. There was one thing I forgot to mention before that because this is actually important for Amurooooo, is that before that explosion, he actually bumped into his father, who's in a spacesuit.
Yeah, he did. And his father was looking good in that spacesuit.
And we kind of see, where actually their relationship is in terms of how close they are, which isn't much. Temray is actually not really paying attention to Amurooooo. He doesn't really look at him throughout most of the scene. Amurooooo is, trying to get answers out of him, and you're just like, don't worry about it. Just go get evacuated. We need to get this thing on the ship. And
he didn't have your typical dad reaction that you would expect when explosions are going on around you. I would just like to reiterate that while all these random human interactions are going on throughout the course of everything that happens at this shelter, there's just constant booms. Like, these two brosovs are just blowing everything up while everyone else is having a chat. Oh, and I'm like, yo, we need to get a move on.
Yeah. So Temrei is actually more concerned with what is on this truck, which looks like a robot. We see it obscured. It's got tarps on it. We don't really know what it is. You kind of know what it is, though.
Yeah, we do.
So he's more concerned about getting that away because Zeon is after it. It's pretty obvious because there's another scene where we cut back to our boy Char on a ship, and he's like, hey, we got to get that thing. Get that thing.
Yeah, a lot of development for Char in this episode. Lots of pointing, lots of wanting.
Yeah, he's just talking down to all those people. We see a little bit of attitude from him, but it's so quick that we don't really get to see how his personality really is. All we know,
but we do get to see his beautiful blonde curly hair poking out from underneath
his helmet.
Magnificent helmet.
Yeah. So Amurooooo and Tem, they break up. That's when that explosion happens. Frau, it's not her mother and father. It's her mother and her grandfather, I believe is what it was.
I don't remember her saying who. I remember her being very upset about her mother, which is, of course, when her best friend backhands her to get her to stop crying, to get her to run away. Yeah. Because you know how it is.
I mean,
like, he backhands her and then gently slaps her, because that's better. Ugh.
Yeah, that was a little uncomfortable to watch.
That wasn't my favorite. It was listen, I get it was the time period. If you've seen Chinatown, which also was shot in the 70s, there's a lot of inappropriate slapping that goes on in that film as well. However, these two children, this girl, just watched her mother actually didn't technically watch, because she was first thrown by the explosion, then turned around to find her mother dead of the explosion that happened just behind her, and she just wanted to have a cry. Yeah, why? Because her mother just exploded.
Because there's a moment where we see the explosion happen. Frau gets launched back, like you said, and she doesn't move for a bit. Like, it almost looks like she died too.
Yeah.
But yeah, she goes to get up. She goes sees her relatives. They're dead. She's in hysterics. That's when Amurooooo slaps her. And there's a really loud slap that goes with that.
Also, P.S. Funny story, slapping someone does not get, contrary to proper media belief, backhand slapping someone does not get them to stop crying, and Frau was proof of that, because that made her cry more, and then you got to hear her sob the entire time she awkwardly ran away. Actually, you know what? I do like Frau, because the world has been unkind to Frau, and I feel for her. This is my girl. I will protect her. I will stand with her, and Amurooooo, he's on the list. He's on the list, and I'm not having it.
And he's our main character, and he's already on the list.
He is on the list. Listen, Keenan, listen, don't think because someone's a main character, that means they get off the list. One of my favorite things ever is Dragon Ball Z, and Goku is the dirt trash worst. So don't get me started on, the main character's on the list. Yes, he's on the list.
No, we got a podcast to finish. We can't talk about DBZ right now.
Listen, bonus episodes, people. I have opinions.
So... yeah, he gets Frau away, and he separates to go get in a buggy to go chase after the thing on the truck, the robot, the thing that's important,
the thing which thankfully goes with that manual he's been,
which they do
lugging around.
They do reference a thing called a Gundam a couple of times, but you don't actually see it in the episode, so you don't really know what is the Gundam. Especially, like, I can imagine back then, it's just like, okay, you can probably assume because it's in the title sequence, it's, that's the Gundam. The title's called Mobile Suit Gundam. It's got to be the Gundam. But for the sake of the plot, they try to keep it a little obscure, keep it a mystery, so when we actually get to see it, it's like, oh my god, it's a really cool thing. It's like seeing the Megazord for the first time.
That is a magical time. It was cool seeing that when you could see the Gundam from underneath the sheet. It was like, yeah, that's what we came for. There it is.
Yeah, which they make no qualms about showing it in its splendor, because when Amurooooo gets to it, he climbs in. we see a little bit of how it works. It's got a cockpit in the middle. He climbs in. He's got the schematics with him. He figures out how to pilot it really fast.
Well, he read the instruction manual, Keenan. I don't know where the mystery here is. I mean, listen, give me an instruction manual in 5 minutes and I could pilot any giant robot that you need. If this 15-year-old can do it, I don't see why I can't too.
It's just like operating a forklift. Everybody knows how to do that.
If I have the time to just kneel on the ground and flip through some schematics while explosions happen all around me, I could who couldn't, really?
Yeah. So, yeah, people are getting evacuated onto the white base ship. We see a lot of familiar faces again. We see that Noah Bright guy who's kind of helping the people get along. Amurooo's currently working on the thing. The Federation forces don't know what's happening. And they're just like, "Where's the Gundam? Send out a core fighter." That's a plane. They don't show it, but that's what the core fighter is. It's essentially a fighter jet. The Zeon, they're still blowing things up.
Oh yeah, the bros still going.
Yeah,
like just through all of this, still blowing things up.
They're just having a grand old time killing a whole bunch of civilians.
They're not
done. No, they're not done because eventually one of them stumbles on the robot itself with Amurooooo inside.
Yeah, and guess which one it is? My boy Gene.
Yeah, and he doesn't even want it. It doesn't seem like he even wants to capture it. He just wants to blow it up because he's just having.
Oh, really? Gene wants to blow something up? That's so out of character for him. It's not like he hasn't been doing it for the last 20 minutes.
So
I hate Gene.
He starts firing upon it. The bullets don't do anything, though.
Yeah, that was really cool. I really loved that he was just like that. He literally just kept shooting it and then was like, why is nothing happening?
Yeah, like, why am I not making a dent in this thing?
Because it's a great introduction to the Gundam. Is like, oh, shit.
Like, they make it a big deal.
This is gonna be... we found our hero vehicle.
Yep, especially when Amurooooo finally gets it to stand up after firing a couple of Vulcan cannons from the head a little bit to get the Zeon guy off.
Yep.
It stands up.
Yep.
Somebody even points out on the Zeon team, just like, it stood up.
It did. Right after it chest farted, then it stood up. Right after it let all that pink gas out of its chest vents, it was up and ready to go.
Yeah, just a little bit of exhaust. It stands up. We get a nice little triumphant beat to go with it. It's just like, oh, it's the Gundam. And it wrecks.
No, but Gene thinks he's got this in the bag, my boy Gene, because he's just been blowing up stationary objects for 20 minutes, so he thinks he's fine, and he just gets progressively more sweaty each time we cut to him.
Because everything he does isn't working. Amurooooo is...
Yeah, it was great. I was like,
he's still, because he's a teenager, he's very scared because he's fighting for his life, essentially, but this machine is unstoppable.
Yeah, it is.
Even when he runs out of bullets... He eventually figures out that this has got 2 beam sabers on the back.
I did love that when he just presses a button and he's like, oh, what's that? And then it's like, oh, it's a lightsaber?
Yeah.
But giant.
What other weapons does this thing have? Oh, this is a cool thing. He takes it out. He cuts one of the Zaku's down and the whole thing explodes.
Yeah, it does. Bye-bye, Gene.
That wasn't Gene.
No, Gene was the first one to die.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Keenan. And let me tell you how I know that. Because after that, this is how I learned Gene's name.
Oh, that's right.
Because the other guy goes, you'll pay for what you did to Gene. To which I just responded, well, Gene sucks, sir, so I don't know why you feel the need to hold such loyalty to Gene, because Gene was the dirt worst, and nobody will miss him.
Yeah. Now, the explosion from that, those machines are called Zaku's. They throw that name out a couple of times, but that's essentially like the foot soldier of the mechs for Zeon is called the Zaku. There's a lot of trivia that goes along with that, but that gets covered in later Gundam
And they
series.
pretty much appear throughout the whole... Because I remember them in Gundam Wing. I remember them in what should be award-winning classic ST Gundam Force.
Yeah, we get to see a cute little version of that thing, but yeah. Aside from the Gundam, the Zaku is pretty much the icon of your villain.
Yes.
Is the green Cyclops with a machine gun and shoulder pads.
If someone is piloting a Zaku in any season of Gundam, they are not our friend.
Yeah. And a lot of good sound design goes with a lot of these things that is used in the show, but that's a little bit of production love. So yeah, when the Zaku blows up, Amurooooo cut in half from the middle of the waist. So it's essentially cleaved in 2. It explodes. The explosion causes a hole to burst open in the colony. And air starts leaving because that's what happens when a hole is created in space.
It's not good. Which I did 2 points I want to make. One, when he cuts Shitty Gene in half, we get what I think is maybe one of the most classic images of all of Gundam. Because I've never seen Mobile Suit Gundam, but I've seen this image of after he's cut him in half, kneeling on the ground with the light sword with the explosion in the background. It is so cool. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a really good shot of the Gundam kind of kneeling down and looking very dramatic as it just cleaved that robot.
Yes. And the other thing is, which I think you're about to tell us, but I was just I was confused about what the issue was, because he caused the hole in there.
Yeah.
But then he's like, oh, we've got to go before the air escapes, even though we're watching the air escape. Yeah. And I was a little confused. And then he's like, he says how he can't do the same thing with this one because it'll cause another explosion. So explain, Keenan.
Yes. The thing about that, because this only gets covered, I think, in one other Gundam show, and it never is brought up again, is the thing that powers these robots is a nuclear core.
Yikes.
So if you cut those things the wrong way, it creates essentially an atomic bomb that just blows up and causes destruction everywhere. That's why you get that hole in the colony and air starts leaving rapidly. They seal it, before it causes any real harm, because these structures are massive, so it's going to take a while for all the air to escape. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, if anybody was near that hole, oh boy, do I feel sorry for you, because out you go and you're going to freeze to death.
I think they made something. There's a lot of things that are going to happen real quick there.
Yeah. So that gets patched up real quickly. That's why Amurooooo is like, oh, I can't do that again because explosion. We can't have that happen again. So when he goes to attack the second Zaku, and this I find is more striking than the action where he cuts it in two and he poses dramatically. The Zaku leaps at him, the other Zaku, who's trying to avenge his friend Jean. Because, hey,
he makes terrible choices in friends.
They're people too.
Also, I think this guy seemed older. Like, he was more of the boss of this little operation, while Jean was the reckless tool who he got assigned with him.
Yeah, he's kind of the hot shot, whereas this other guy, I don't think we get a name for him, but he's more composed, and he's more like a soldier than Jean is. So he leaps, this guy leaps to the Gundam. Amurooooo has to make the split-second decision. It's like, okay, I have to hit this thing the right way, or else this thing's going to explode and more people are going to die. So he pierces what he assumes to be the cockpit. Mm-hmm. And this is actually, I think, used in a lot of promotional material as well, is that shot of the Gundam taking the beam saber and piercing it through the Zaku in the middle.
Impaling it,
essentially. But we also get a shot of Amurooooo's face after that happens, and he is horrified because he realizes, as opposed to making that other guy explode, he deliberately killed a person with that beam saber by itself. It wasn't the explosion that killed the man, it was Amurooooo himself.
I mean, if you think about it, okay. I get what they're going for, because he caused the direct, I assume, instant melting of this man through impaling his cockpit.
Yeah, that same nuclear power that runs these robots also runs through those beam sabers.
Yeah.
So
I get where Amurooooo's coming from, and he is 15, which means he's not bright. Which of us were at 15?
Look.
But
I can't speak to the fact of how you deal with these kinds of things, but if I was Amurooooo, that's probably what I'd be doing too. Is like, oh my god, I just killed a person deliberately.
But he cut the last one in half.
Right, but...
And he exploded in an atomic explosion.
But like I said, it's the explosion that killed that guy, not getting cut.
Keenan... Listen, I am an elderly man of 30. So I just view the world differently than you and Amurooooo.
Yeah.
You're both young. You're both the same height.
Probably. Amurooooo is based on a Japanese man, so he's probably roughly about like 5'5", 5'4". Who knows?
And you are an average teenager height.
Of course. Just age me 10 years. But yeah. But Amurooooo kind of gets over that really quickly because, there's still things happening. Yeah. I gotta get this thing off.
Yeah. Too bad there was no one to backhand him while he was having his little moment.
Yeah. No, he's just petrified instead of just crying endlessly.
Yeah, it was a rough. There was some. Listen, I have poked fun at Amurooooo and my homegirl, Frau Bo.
That's not one name, by the way. That's her first and last name.
Okay, yes, but they all call her Frau Bo.
Well, that's the thing about when we were talking about...
No one called her Frau.
You remember how you said, like, this is not how people talk?
Yeah.
So the thing about this is that back during that time, when production companies or dubbing companies would get the footage, they wouldn't always get direction from the creators that made it as to, like, how do these people do, essentially? And sometimes these companies didn't even get scripts.
So let me put it this way. Does the English dub consider her whole first name Frau Bo?
So the reason why they kind of mix between saying Frau Bo and Frau is essentially to match flaps. So when they wrote their script, I'm not entirely sure if Ocean actually had to write the script for it or if it was just a translation that they kind of toyed around with. In
case it was like a Frau Chan thing or Frau Kun.
Exactly, if they're using honorifics or not. Is that, they try to make it so that every word matches the mouth movements of these characters, which that practice is still used today. That's kind of how dubbing works. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to call her Frau Bo because I think it's a beautiful name. But I will say...
It's real funny to listen to how the Japanese cast say these names because these don't sound like Japanese names, except maybe Amurooooo, but...
No, Frau Bo sounds like one of the kids from The Sound of Music.
Yeah, so hearing somebody go like Frau Bo or something, or Frau Bao, is a little amusing, but that's what they had to work with.
Keenan.
I'm terrible, I know.
Keenan.
But that's okay. For all of you out there, I'm also a voice actor. I've made these mistakes myself in jobs, but you can't help it. It's sometimes with the direction you're given.
Not what I was talking about. Oh, Keenan.
That'll be something we'll talk to off mic then. But yeah, after that we get one more shot of Char on a ship, and he essentially is like, okay, I gotta go handle this myself.
Okay, no, here is exactly what he says, which I loved. No one likes to admit mistakes due to youth. Same.
And yeah, and then we cut to our end credits.
Oh, no, Keenan. First, we cut to the next time on, where we get a preview of our next episode.
Right, we get our episode preview.
Gundam Destroyed, which I'm really sad that already this thing's just wrapping up in episode 2, because apparently the Gundam gets destroyed.
I couldn't stand that about episode previews, because... sometimes they would actually just spoil what actually happens.
Listen, I'm not a huge anime person, but I do love my Sailor Moons. I love my Tenchis, my Yu-Gi-Oh! But especially when they take the Japanese names of things, it's always a spoiler, which I get the frustration, but also if you watch a trailer for any American movie, the spoiler might not be in the title, but it's in that trailer.
Yeah. Like what happened with Aquaman in that extended 5-minute trailer that basically tells you the whole movie.
Okay, though, I heard it does not.
Really?
Yes. James Wan was like, if you think that's the whole movie, ooh, you wrong.
That's very fascinating.
You are so
good.
I'm very curious to see how that goes.
But that's enough about that. We're here to talk Gundam. So after the preview, we get our credits theme, Forever Amurooooo, which our Jeffrey was singing earlier.
Amurooooo. Don't look back.
Now, when this aired on Toonami, I'm pretty sure they didn't have this theme. I think they just
they made a mistake, Keenan. We all make mistakes because the star's shining far off in space. Amurooooo, Amurooooo, it's your homeland where you were born. Do you remember the days of your childhood? The morning when you woke up in warmth? Amurooooo, don't look back. Amurooooo. A man must hide his tears, which is bullshit. Let me just say.
So dramatic.
Let me just say, I'm not here for the gender roles. A man must not hide his tears. Get out with that. Only to look to tomorrow. To tomorrow, forever. P.S. This is over just like lots of pretty space. And lots of main characters in moonlighting.
Yeah.
Mood lighting, not moonlighting. Also a fabulous show, not one we're discussing today. But lots of blues, some indigos, and a lot of space.
Mm-hmm. It's a very lovely thing. And that is our first episode that we have covered.
So what did you think of it, Keenan? Now, how many times have you seen this episode?
I've seen this episode probably less than you would assume. For somebody like me, it's not often that I actually go back to the original Mobile Suit Gundam, at least the TV series. Later on, they would take the series and compile it into a bunch of movies a couple years later. So that's what I tend to watch. So in that just feels like the first 15 minutes of that movie is what happens in the first episode. So going to see this with the original score, the English actors who are unfortunately not used in the movie, but that's something
we'll get
for
there.
Another day. I felt giddy.
Yeah.
I felt giddy watching this because it took me back to what I was seeing on Toonami. Because even on Toonami, they actually played the original theme.
It's a good theme. And let me tell y'all, Keenan gets his jam on while that theme is playing.
It's great. It's fantastic. Don't judge me, Jeffrey.
How dare you? Such accusations. I will say,
just give me a side.
I'm very excited to see where the show goes. You know, I was a little, you know, on the fence about the teens and their behavior early in the episode, but I have grown really concerned for them. I want to make sure they're okay.
Right.
I hope Amurooooo and Fraubo and what was his name? Hayato. He seemed lovely. We learned nothing about him, but I just want to make sure.
Who knows? We may not even see him in the next episode.
I feel like he was in the opening credits.
So were a lot of people.
He had main character face, so I think we will see him again.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters that showed up in the intro that actually didn't show up in this episode. One of them being my favorite character in this show.
Oh,
who doesn't show up until later, is a pretty blonde woman. We'll get to her when she shows up.
Yeah, we will. But for now, that was the first episode of Mobile Suit Gundam, Gundam Rising. And apparently the next one is Gundam Destroyed, so we'll be able to wrap this up right quick.
So yeah, aside from how you felt about the characters, how did you feel about the episode?
I thought it was a really good strong start. It reminded me a lot of Super Sentai in that you really don't get eased into it. You get thrown into it. And really you have to make the decision whether you want to take the ride or not, because they do not slow down for you. You don't really develop the characters before they're thrown in the situation. You're just in it. And you got to figure it out. And I liked it. I'm curious to see where it goes.
And again, the show has no issue with people dying.
Yeah.
They reference in the opening narrative, which I believe you did as well, half the population that went into space got killed during the opening course of the war.
As is half of the population, or half of all the population. Everyone's dead. It's just a lot of death. I was not expecting the sheer amount of deadness or explosions that there were.
Yeah, so that's why I kept referencing, just like I felt like a couple of times I was getting mood whiplashes because we have happy, we have sad, a lot.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm already worn out. There's just a lot.
It's an exhausting
There's
episode,
a lot to take in, but it was a really good start, I think.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We have our own Twitter.
Yes, if you would like to reach us, you can find us at Gundam Guys on Twitter. Or if you would like to email us at thegundamguys@outlook.com.
Yeah. Share us questions, your favorite mobile suit, anything like that. But try to avoid spoilers for Jeffrey, because Jeffrey, even though...
no spoilers.
He's seen this before. It's been some time.
No, I haven't. This one I haven't seen at all.
You've never seen the original one?
No.
Wow, that's
No, it's going to be like 15 years before we've get to one I've seen. So no spoilers, y'all.
Yeah, definitely no spoilers.
And also...
if you want to follow us on our personal Twitters.
Oh, yes. I am at JeffP888.
And I am at K Scott Pearson. That's Scott with 2 T's.
Yeah, Keenan. We did
it. We got through our first episode.
But thank you so much for listening. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And
Absolutely.
we will See you next time. I'm Jeff.
I'm Keenan.
And we are the Gundam Guys.
Thank you for joining us, and get in your giant robot, people.